Ladies and gentlemen, friends in the journey of growth today, I invite you to stand up, take a deep breath and declare, my words matter, my voice matters. Because when you speak with confidence, you're not just delivering information, you're building a legacy. You're stepping into the arena of impact, and the world needs your voice. This is not about fleeting applause. It's not about speaking perfectly. It's about speaking powerfully, speaking with intention. Speaking as if the legacy of your message will outlive you. That's the lens I want you to carry as I share the habits that will transform how you speak when you speak. Your words are not just sounds that fill the air, they are echoes that shape how the world remembers you. Every sentence you release has the power to build or break, to inspire or to weaken, to leave a trace or to be forgotten. That's why when you speak, you must speak with legacy in mind. You must understand that what you say today might live far longer than you. It might shape someone's belief, shift someone's direction, or ignite a fire in someone's heart years after you're gone. That's the weight and beauty of your voice. Speaking with a legacy, first mindset means you stop chasing quick applause and start aiming for lasting impact. You stop performing for approval and start speaking from conviction. You're not here to entertain, you're here to plant seeds. You're here to awaken something deep in people, and that means your intention must rise above the moment. Legacy. First speaking isn't about being perfect, polished, or theatrical. It's about being purposeful. It's about asking yourself before every word, will this matter a year from now? Will it carry meaning beyond this moment? When you embrace this mindset, confidence becomes natural. You no longer seek validation because your focus shifts from how people see you to what value you leave behind. You start to realize that fear, nervousness, and self-doubt are all rooted in ego and worrying about your image, your mistakes, your perception. But when your mission is legacy, your fear dissolves. You stop speaking for applause and you start speaking for transformation. And in that shift, your voice gains power. It carries weight because it's connected to something larger than you. Speaking with legacy means being deeply rooted in authenticity. You don't imitate voices you've heard or styles you've seen. You speak from your own story, your own scars, your own victories. You bring realness into your words because people don't remember fancy phrases, they remember truth. When your message is aligned with who you truly are, it resonates, it lingers, it multiplies. Legacy grows where authenticity lives. A legacy. First speaker also understands that energy is more important than eloquence. You might not have the perfect vocabulary or flawless grammar, but if your energy is true, if your intent is powerful, people will feel you. They might forget your words, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. The energy of your purpose will carry through your tone, your presence, your silence. That's why confidence doesn't come from rehearsing every word, it comes from believing every word. To live and speak with legacy means you prepare differently. You don't just practice your lines, you prepare your spirit. You don't just memorize your message, you embody it. You understand that before you can move others, you must be moved yourself. Legacy. First speaking demands that you live the principles you preach. You can't talk about courage while living in fear. You can't speak about growth while refusing to grow. People feel the difference between performance and presence. One fades, the other lingers. When you speak from legacy, you see your audience differently too. You don't see faces in a crowd. You see hearts waiting for a spark. You don't talk at them. You speak into them. You're not trying to impress them. You're trying to impact them, and that requires connection. It means you listen before you speak. You feel their energy, you meet them where they are and lift them higher. That's what legacy-driven communication does, it elevates. This mindset also changes how you view failure. Because when you speak from ego, every stumble feels like a defeat. But when you speak from legacy, every stumble becomes a lesson. Every misstep refines your message. Every imperfect delivery builds your mastery. You stop chasing perfection and start pursuing purpose, and that's when you truly grow into a confident communicator, one who's not afraid to be seen, heard, or even misunderstood, because your mission stands taller than your mistakes. Legacy. First speaking demands patience. It's not about instant results. You might not see the fruits of your words today, but one day someone will remember something you said. Maybe they'll whisper it to themselves in a moment of doubt. Maybe they'll share it with someone else who needs it. That's how legacy works, quietly, persistently, beyond your control. So don't underestimate a single word that comes from a pure place. Don't downplay the ripple you create just because you can't see it immediately. When you adopt this mindset, confidence isn't something you perform, it's something you become. You walk differently, speak differently, and show up differently. Because you know every word has purpose, every sentence has potential, every voice has power. You realize you are not just a speaker, you are a builder of meaning. You are constructing something that may outlive you, and that realization frees you. So when you speak, whether to a crowd of thousands or a single listener, do it with the intention to leave something behind. Speak words that build others, ideas that outlast applause, and truths that survive silence. Because legacy isn't built in grand moments, it's built in every sincere word that carries your heart. Speak like it matters, because it does. And when you speak from that place, confidence becomes not just your skill, but your signature. Confidence doesn't appear in a single moment of inspiration. It's not born from a speech you watch or a quote you memorize. It's built brick by brick, day by day, through habits that no one sees, through the quiet discipline of showing up when it's inconvenient, through the small choices that seem insignificant but shape everything. That's the truth most people avoid. They want transformation, but they chase shortcuts. They want the result, but not the repetition. Yet real growth, the kind that changes your identity, comes from what you do consistently, not occasionally. Daily habit formation is the foundation of confidence, mastery, and purpose. You can't speak with certainty if you only practice when you feel like it. You can't lead with conviction if your preparation depends on motivation. Motivation is fragile, habits are stable. Motivation fades when life gets hard, but habits keep you moving even when your emotions tell you to stop. The person who practices daily, who repeats, refines, and reflects, becomes unstoppable not because they are gifted, but because they are grounded in discipline. You see, every day you're building something, either excuses or excellence. Every choice reinforces who you're becoming. When you choose to delay, you teach yourself inconsistency. When you choose to act, you strengthen yourself. Trust. Confidence is not the absence of fear. It's the presence of trust in yourself. And that trust comes from knowing you've done the work every single day. There's a difference between people who speak with power and those who don't. It's not talent, it's training. The confident speaker doesn't wake up confident. They become confident by doing the small things that others ignore. They practice their craft daily. They study voices. They refine their tone. They read, they write, they listen. They don't wait for an opportunity to perform, they prepare long before the stage arrives. That's the essence of daily habit formation, preparation before performance. One-time fixes might feel satisfying for a moment. They give you the illusion of progress. You attend a seminar, read a book, or watch a video, and for a few hours you feel inspired. But inspiration without repetition fades like smoke. The brain needs repetition to believe. The soul needs consistency to grow. What you repeat becomes your rhythm, and your rhythm becomes your reality. If you only feed your mind occasionally, you'll always run on empty. But if you feed it daily through learning, reflection, and practice, you build momentum that doesn't break. Daily habits also reprogram your identity. You stop saying, "I want to be confident," and start proving it through your actions. You create evidence every day that you are the kind of person who shows up. Every small victory becomes a vote for the person you're becoming, and over time that identity becomes unshakable. You don't just act confident, you embody it. Think about it like this: confidence is a muscle. You can't build muscle by lifting weights once a month. You build it by showing up repeatedly, even when you don't see instant results. You tear the muscle, you rest, you grow. The same principle applies to confidence. Every time you speak, you stretch yourself. Every time you push through discomfort, you grow stronger. The repetitions matter more than the results. The progress is in the process, and the process is not glamorous. It's early mornings, late nights, moments of doubt, moments of silence. It's showing up to rehearse when nobody's watching. It's reviewing your mistakes instead of hiding from them. It's rewriting your speech one more time, even when you're tired. That's where greatness is born, not in front of cameras, but in the unseen hours of preparation. The truth is, daily habits don't just shape what you do, they shape who you are. You can't have disciplined speech without a disciplined life. How you do one thing is how you do everything. If you're inconsistent in your routines, you'll be inconsistent in your expression. But if you master your days, you'll master your message. The person who can control their daily actions can command any stage. The beauty of daily habit formation is that it compounds. One day of practice seems small. 10 days still feel insignificant, but 100 days, that's when transformation begins. You don't even realize how far you've come until one day speaking feels natural. Confidence feels effortless, and people start asking, "How did you get so good?" They don't see the work, but you do. You remember every repetition, every hesitation, every moment you wanted to quit but didn't. And that memory becomes your strength. The real power of daily habits is that they don't just build skill, they build integrity. You start to respect yourself because you kept your promises. You start to walk differently because you've earned your confidence. You no longer have to convince yourself you're ready. Your consistency proves that you are. And when you step on that stage or open your mouth to speak, your body remembers the work you've done. Your voice carries not just sound, but certainty. So if you want to speak with confidence, stop searching for quick fixes. Stop waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect feeling. Build the habit, speak daily, practice daily, reflect daily, do it until it becomes who you are. Because consistency will take you where motivation can't. In the end, legacy isn't built by what you do once, it's built by what you do every day. And those small, invisible choices, they're not small at all. They're shaping your future, your voice, your impact. Daily habits are your silent architects building the version of you that will one day stand in front of the world. Not just speaking with confidence, but speaking with truth, with power, with legacy. Your voice is not an accident. It's not random. It carries your story, your pain, your victories, your lessons, and yet most people spend their lives trying to sound like someone else. They silence their truth because they fear judgment. They edit their message until it loses its power. But the moment you decide to own your voice, everything changes. Because confidence doesn't come from mimicking someone else, it comes from owning what's already inside you. Owning your voice means trusting your perspective even when it's different. It means standing behind your message even when not everyone agrees. It means understanding that your words don't need to be perfect, they need to be real. The world doesn't crave more perfection, it craves more honesty. People can feel when you're faking confidence, and they can feel when you mean what you say. Authenticity carries an energy that no technique can replace. When you own your voice, you stop trying to fit into other people's definitions of what's right or professional. You stop seeking permission to speak. You stop apologizing for your truth. You begin to understand that your uniqueness is not a weakness, it's your advantage. The tone, the rhythm, the emotion that only you can bring, that's what makes your message powerful. No one else has your life experience. No one else has your story. That's why your voice matters, but owning your voice is only half of the equation. You must also value your content, because the moment you stop believing in the worth of your message, your delivery weakens. You can't speak with conviction about something you haven't internalized. You can't move others if you haven't been moved yourself. Confidence comes when your words align with your beliefs, when you speak from truth, not theory, when you speak from conviction, not convenience. Valuing your content means you respect the power of your message enough to prepare for it. You study, you research, you refine. You don't just throw words together, you craft them with intention. Because what you say can shape how others think, feel, and act. That's responsibility, that's impact. And when you understand that, you start to speak differently. You slow down, you choose your words with care. You respect the platform you've been given. Owning your voice also means embracing imperfection. There will be times you stumble, times you lose your rhythm, times your words don't land the way you wanted. But if you're grounded in authenticity, none of that shakes you. You don't measure your worth by applause or criticism. You measure it by alignment, by whether or not you said what needed to be said in the way that only you could. Because real confidence is not about flawless delivery, it's about fearless expression. When you own your voice, you become free from comparison. You no longer feel threatened by others who speak well because you're not competing, you're contributing. You recognize that everyone has a different rhythm, a different story, a different purpose. And that frees you to stand in your own lane and shine. You understand that your message doesn't have to sound like anyone else's to be powerful. It just has to be yours. Valuing your content means you believe in the transformation it offers. If you're speaking about growth, you must live growth. If you're teaching about discipline, you must embody discipline. People don't follow words, they follow energy. They follow integrity. When what you say and who you are align, people feel it. That's where true influence begins. You can't fake that alignment. It's built through self-respect and consistency. Too many people underestimate the value of what they carry. They assume their experiences aren't unique enough or their insights aren't deep enough. But you have no idea how your story could be the spark for someone else's breakthrough. You've lived lessons that others are praying to learn. You've survived moments that others are struggling through right now. That's why you can't withhold your voice. Someone needs to hear it exactly the way you speak it. Owning your voice also means detaching from outcomes. You're not speaking to impress, you're speaking to express. You're not chasing approval, you're delivering impact. That shift liberates you. You stop overthinking every word because you realize that the right people will connect with your message and the wrong ones were never meant to. Confidence grows when you stop trying to please everyone and start focusing on serving the right ones. And when you truly value your content, you stop rushing your growth. You respect the process of becoming. You understand that mastery takes time. Every speech, every video, every message refines you. You learn, you adjust, you rise, you become a vessel for your own evolution. And that's the ultimate reward, not just being heard, but becoming the kind of person whose words carry substance, depth, and truth. Your voice is your legacy. Your content is your contribution. When you merge the two, when your voice carries truth, and your message carries value, you become unforgettable. People won't just remember what you said. They'll remember how it made them feel. They'll remember that you spoke with conviction, that you believed in what you said, that you stood in your power. So don't shrink. Don't dilute your message to fit into small spaces. Don't silence your truth because others aren't ready for it. Speak it anyway. Speak with strength. Speak with purpose. Speak with ownership. Because when you own your voice and value your content, you no longer just communicate, you command, you lead, you transform. You leave echoes that will outlive you. Presence is power. It's the invisible force that makes people stop scrolling, stop talking, and start listening. Before you even say a word, your presence speaks. It tells the world who you are, what you believe, and how much you believe it. Presence isn't just about standing on a stage, it's about the energy you carry into every room, every conversation, every moment. It's not about being loud, it's about being felt, and the way you carry your body, your tone, and your pace determines whether people simply hear you or truly experience you. Your body is the first message you deliver. Long before your words reach someone's ears, your posture, your movement, and your expression communicate your confidence or your lack of it. When you stand tall, shoulders back, eyes focused, you radiate certainty. You don't have to say you believe in your message, your body says it for you. People respond to what they sense more than what they hear. A slouched posture, restless hands, or downward gaze can disconnect your audience before you've even started. But when you move with intention, you anchor attention. Every step, every gesture, every pause becomes part of your message. The secret is to be deliberate, not dramatic. You don't need exaggerated movements, you need meaningful ones. Let your gestures flow naturally from your emotion. If you're passionate, let that energy rise through your body. If you're serious, let stillness carry the weight of your conviction. Don't try to imitate another speaker's style, that's noise. Find your rhythm, find the balance between movement and stillness that amplifies your truth, not distracts from it. Then comes your tone, the soul of your communication. Words are empty without tone. You can say the same sentence in two ways and create two completely different emotions. Tone reveals emotion, intention, and confidence. When your tone is strong, it anchors your words in authority. When it's calm, it builds trust. When it's warm, it connects hearts. But when it's flat, rushed, or uncertain, it kills impact. That's why the most powerful speakers don't just talk. They play their voice like an instrument. They shift tone to match meaning, rising with passion, softening with empathy, deepening with truth. To master tone, you must first master your internal state. Your voice mirrors your emotions. If your mind is anxious, your tone will tremble. If your spirit is grounded, your tone will carry strength. So before you speak, center yourself, breathe, align your intention, speak not to perform but to serve. When your heart is calm, your tone flows naturally, effortlessly, powerfully. Then there's pace, the rhythm that brings your message to life. Most people underestimate it. They either rush because they're nervous or drag because they're overthinking. But pace is what gives your words power. Too fast and people can't feel your message. Too slow and they lose interest. The key is balance, a rhythm that feels alive but intentional. Confidence lives in control. When you control your pace, you control the energy of the room. Use pauses like punctuation, marks of power. Silence is not your enemy, it's your amplifier. When you pause at the right moment, your words sink deeper. The audience leans in, they process, they feel. Silence gives weight to your message. It's not emptiness, it's presence. The strongest communicators know how to let their words breathe. They're not afraid of the space between sentences because they understand that impact doesn't come from speed, it comes from significance. When your body, tone, and pace align, you become magnetic. You don't have to demand attention, you command it naturally. You create a flow where your message, energy, and presence move as one. People can sense your conviction not just from what you say, but from how you exist in that moment. Confidence in its purest form is alignment, your thoughts, your words, and your actions moving in harmony. And that's what makes your presence unforgettable. It's not about being the loudest in the room. It's about being the most intentional. You can speak softly and still fill the space with your energy. You can pause and make the silence louder than words. You can move slowly and still command focus. Presence isn't about performance, it's about power. So the next time you speak, remember this. Your message starts before your mouth opens. Your body tells the audience whether to believe you. Your tone tells them how to feel. Your pace tells them how deeply to absorb your words. Treat every gesture, every inflection, every pause as a part of your story, because it is. When you walk onto a stage, into a meeting, or in front of a camera, carry yourself with the awareness that your presence is your brand. You're not just delivering a message, you're embodying it. Don't rush through your truth. Don't let nervous energy control your rhythm. Breathe, ground yourself. Let your tone carry conviction, your body express confidence, and your pace deliver clarity. Because when your presence speaks louder than your words, you don't just talk, you transform. People remember how you made them feel, not how perfectly you spoke. That's the power of presence, to move people without forcing them, to inspire without shouting, to connect without pretending. So make them feel you. Let your body tell the story. Let your tone ignite emotion. Let your pace carry purpose. Because when all three move together, your message doesn't just reach ears, it reaches souls. Practice without purpose is just repetition. You can do something 1,000 times and still remain stuck if your effort lacks direction. But when you practice with purpose, every repetition counts. Every moment of effort becomes a step toward mastery. Purpose turns routine into refinement. It gives meaning to your effort, power to your growth, and clarity to your journey. The difference between the average and the exceptional isn't talent, it's intentionality. One practices to finish, the other practices to improve. When you practice with purpose, you stop going through the motions. You stop doing things just to say you did them. You become aware. You study your habits, your patterns, your weaknesses. You practice not to prove, but to progress. Each time you speak, each time you train, each time you repeat your craft, you're not chasing perfection, you're chasing alignment. You're aligning your words with your vision, your technique with your message, your effort with your destiny. That's how confidence grows, through focused, deliberate practice, not random repetition. Purposeful practice means you have a clear intention before you begin. You don't just say, "I'll practice speaking today." You say, "Today, I'm going to strengthen my tone. Today, I'll work on pacing. Today, I'll connect my emotion to my message." You target specific areas. You don't avoid what's uncomfortable, you lean into it. Because discomfort is the birthplace of growth. You can't become great by practicing only what feels easy. Greatness lives in the moments where you push beyond comfort into clarity. The truth is, most people want confidence without the cost. They want results without reflection, but purpose-driven practice demands humility. It forces you to look at yourself honestly, to study your flaws, to acknowledge your weaknesses, to admit what needs work. That's not easy, but that's how mastery begins. You can't improve what you won't confront, and the more you confront your imperfections with honesty and patience, the more power you gain over them. Reflection is what transforms effort into excellence. Without reflection, practice becomes noise. You might be moving, but you're not advancing. After every session, after every speech, after every attempt, pause, reflect, ask yourself, what did I do well? Where did I lose control? What emotion was I carrying when I spoke? Did I connect? Did I believe what I was saying? Reflection turns every experience into a teacher. It helps you extract lessons from your wins and your losses. It refines your awareness, sharpens your instincts, and reminds you of your progress. Most people underestimate reflection because it feels still, slow, and quiet. But that stillness is where wisdom is formed. The greatest breakthroughs don't come in moments of noise. They come in moments of awareness. When you stop to look at your progress, you realize how far you've come. You start to see patterns, the habits that help you grow, and the ones that hold you back. You begin to understand your rhythm. That understanding builds self-trust, and self-trust is the foundation of confidence. When you practice with purpose, you also build integrity with yourself. You keep promises you've made to your growth. You stop treating practice like an obligation and start treating it like an opportunity. You show up for yourself every day, not because someone is watching, but because you've committed to your craft. That quiet consistency creates strength that can't be faked. It's what separates those who perform from those who embody. You can't fake the presence of someone who has done the inner work. Reflection also protects you from burnout. When you move with intention, you know why you're doing what you're doing. You don't just chase success, you align with purpose. You find fulfillment in the process, not just the outcome. And that's what sustains you when progress feels slow. Because some days the results won't show. Some days you'll feel like you're not improving. But when you reflect, you realize that even slow progress is still movement. You learn to trust the process because you've seen your evolution with your own eyes. Practicing with purpose and reflecting on progress turns your journey into a mirror, one that reveals not just your skills, but your character. You start to recognize that every time you show up, even when you don't feel ready, you're building resilience. Every time you refine your tone, your timing, your message, you're not just improving your delivery, you're shaping your identity. You're proving to yourself that growth is a choice, not a coincidence. This kind of practice demands patience. You can't rush mastery, you can't microwave confidence, you earn it one purposeful repetition at a time. Every minute spent with intention compounds over time. Every reflection plants a seed of awareness that grows into strength. And one day you'll look back and realize that you didn't just become a better speaker, you became a stronger person. So when you practice, don't just repeat, refine. Don't just move, measure. Don't just decide why you're doing it. Carry purpose into every effort and reflection into every pause, because practice without purpose is motion, but practice with purpose is transformation. It's what turns potential into power and effort into excellence. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be intentional. You don't need to have it all figured out. You need to be aware. Every time you practice with purpose, you carve your future. Every time you reflect, you polish your presence. That's how legacies are built, not in grand moments, but in quiet, deliberate ones where no one's watching. That's where confidence is born. That's where greatness begins, my friends. Today you've been handed a map, the map of habits that pave the road to confident speaking. But a map is nothing without the journey. So I challenge you, take your first step today. Speak in front of the mirror, record your voice, deliver your message to someone who will listen. Do not wait for the perfect moment, create it, because confidence is not the absence of fear, it's the choice to speak despite the fear. And when you speak with that choice, you step into legacy, you step into the future. You, the person whose voice is heard, whose message resonates, whose presence is felt. So go ahead, speak your truth. Let your voice echo, build your legacy, and remember the world doesn't just need another speaker, it needs you. Thank you.